And let's go. Hello.
Welcome to the Old Man Podcast.
Just kidding. It's the brothers game.
Yep.
I fooled you. I am actually Nicolai.
And I'm actually Brian.
Yes. We're the brothers and we are gaming.
That's right.
This is a podcast just for real gamers, okay? So if you're not a true gamer, you can just leave or whatever. But make sure to download still before you do that. Right, Brian?
Sure.
Anyway, we're both a little under the weather.
Yeah.
If you could tell from our voices.
Yeah.
Mine's a little extra. Yeah.
We just got back from Vegas.
We did. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. It is very hot.
It
in
is very
Vegas.
hot there. Yeah, it was nice to come home to cloudy rain here in Oregon. Now that fall is beginning.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. Nothing really video game related happened except for
Yeah.
us playing our Switches on the airplane.
Yeah.
That's about it. Good times.
Yeah. We had some good food.
We did have a lot of good food. That was our main reason for going.
I bought the most expensive meal I have ever bought
Definitely.
for myself, at least.
We went to the Gordon Ramsay Steakhouse in Las Vegas.
And I ate a $95 steak.
So
But
did I.
it was quite good.
It was fantastic. So,
But yeah.
and it was fun to have that sort of fine dining experience a little bit. Yeah. Yes, food was pretty fantastic. So, yeah.
Got to stay in a pretty nice hotel room.
Very nice. Yep, friends of ours let us use their special like rewards program thing, and so we got a very nice hotel for nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we came back and feel like this,
Yeah.
feel and sound like this. But hey, you know,
Yeah, we were there for 3 days. We got to check out some of the stuff, the various hotels and
Vegas stuff.
yeah, Vegas stuff.
It was not Brian's first time, but it was my first time going. So
I did get to see more of Vegas this time than I did the first time I was
Yeah.
there.
that's cool.
Yeah, the first time I was mainly there to see a Cirque du Soleil show,
A show
and
specifically,
less
yeah.
so to just walk the strip and look at it.
Yeah, we
So,
didn't go see any shows or anything. We will in another trip sometime. But yeah, this time all the money went towards food.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we spent a lot of it. Although it helps a lot when you don't drink.
yeah,
You save a lot of money at
That's
restaurants. We would have spent twice as much easily if we drank alcohol. So there is that bonus.
Oh, and these shakes. We got to
Oh,
mention
yeah.
these shakes. They have these shakes where, like, it's a shake, but then there's also an entire cinnamon
Like
roll on
dessert
top.
on top of it.
And then a pile of whipped cream on top of that. And
They're literally called Crazy Shakes, and they're from a restaurant called Black Tap in the
Yeah.
Venetian Hotel. And yeah, they were awesome, but they were actually as good as they looked too.
Yeah.
Great flavor. Yeah. So yeah, we got the cinnamon roll one, like he just said, and then the cookies and cream, which was very Oreo-y.
yeah.
And yeah, had an entire like Oreo ice cream sandwich on it, and like yeah, very cool.
Ramen at Momofuku.
Very good ramen. Yeah, huge shout out to Momofuku. They treated us really well too. So yeah, those were cool peeps.
Yep.
Yep.
So that was
Good
Vegas
stuff.
in a nutshell. So usually, so I've taken plenty of plane rides in my life, but
Yeah.
and I usually read books on them. But then I think the last time I was on a flight with you, you brought your Switch, and I realized that's brilliant. I should bring my Switch, and I should play it on the plane, and I did, and it was
Yeah.
great.
Switches are great for airplanes.
So I started a new file on Pokemon Scarlet.
yeah, so I'm surprised you didn't play the DLC because you still haven't played the Teal Mask.
Well, I haven't bought it yet.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like it's not very expensive,
Yeah.
and I just figured you would have. So, but that's cool.
Yeah. So, I got a chance to go through it again and like take a look at it after some time, and
Because that's your first ever like new file on it.
yeah, so this is just my second time ever playing through it.
Yeah.
The graphical glitches were a little more noticeable this time, I think,
Yeah.
because after everything everybody has said, I was probably looking out for them more than I was the first game.
For sure.
I'm still not that bothered by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not that big a deal.
Once you like are into it
Yeah.
and sort of just focused on the gameplay and stuff.
Yeah, and for
not
me,
that
it's
bad.
way more about the biggest problem is the performance issues, not the not so much
100%.
the visuals.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's the like input lag and the clippy movement and stuff. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
stuff
that's
that
the
is
kind of stuff.
troubling. Yeah, definitely.
And that's
true.
mostly optimization stuff, not so much just like graphic fidelity.
Yeah. Yeah, I could imagine an extra year of polish on this would have made quite a difference. Like they did with Tears of the Kingdom,
Yeah.
which very much shows in that game as it runs beautifully. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's definitely noticeable in the DLC still.
Yeah. I do wonder, I imagine it's using the same engine as Sword and Shield.
I kind of doubt it, just because of the look is so different. But it could be,
Well,
because even the battles and stuff are completely
yeah, but
different,
it would
so.
be so much work to build an entirely new engine.
Yeah, I don't know
for
what
this game.
what engine it used,
Yeah.
but
Because it
it
I would,
feels very different than Sword and
it
Shield.
does feel
so.
different, but do you think it feels more like Sword and Shield or more like Legends Arceus? Because I feel it like it feels more like Sword and Shield.
I would say Legends Arceus, but only because like things like battle sequences being in the overworld instead of cutting to like its own battle
Yeah,
like world almost, if that makes sense. How encounters just happen
Yeah.
sort of in the,
and
in
like
the world.
I have to wonder:
So
are all three using different variations of the same engine, or did they
that's
build?
very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to look into for sure. Because I remember when I borrowed your copy of Sword coming from Scarlet and Violet, I was blown away by how good it looked and felt.
Yeah,
And I think that must be because it is different somehow.
yeah,
And something about being able to go into random encounters, in a separate instance almost.
yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, that seemed to help with performance. I don't know, something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, because like there's obviously like visually you're still in the overworld,
Yeah.
but obviously you are actually in an instance when you
Yeah.
enter combat. There's a whole combat sequence and everything.
Yeah. But in Scarlet and Violet and Arceus, you can, still move the camera around and see the
Yeah.
world around you. You can see the random Pokemon that are around still walking. Mm-hmm. And so like I don't know, it feels very different because of that. So
Yeah.
like I remember I've seen a lot of videos of people in an encounter with a Pokemon and then like a shiny walks by Scarlet and Violet and they're like, crap, I gotta get on this battle before that disappears. So, being able to see stuff in the outside world
Yeah.
is very different. But yeah, I think Arceus was the same.
Yeah.
But
So I have the game here so that I can talk about my team because I always
Yes,
forget what my team is.
yeah,
unless,
I'm gonna go from memory for the DLC, but so we'll see what I can do.
Okay, so I wanted to do a totally different team than my last playthrough.
Right.
And
Always.
I did want to mostly to use some Pokemon that I haven't used before.
Yeah.
And
always
some
good.
that I haven't used very often. I did not manage to make myself use only Pokemon I've never used because they just weren't good enough. My standards were a little
Yeah.
too high for that.
Gotcha.
So Ampharos is on my team, and Ampharos
Yeah.
is arguably one of my most used Pokemon.
Yeah.
So there is that.
But he's cool.
But so I started with Fuecoco,
Yes, the best.
as opposed to
Sprigatito.
Sprigatito, which I feel like Fuecoco is the easiest starter in this game because fire is strong in so many things.
And later as Skeledirge,
Yeah.
his signature move is absolutely busted.
Yeah.
So
I have 2 fairy types and 2 ghost types on my team.
nice. That's how my teams usually look.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Which I tend to not have many fairy types on my team.
Yeah, man, fairy's good.
Uh-huh. So, at the moment, I'm just going to go by the order that they are in right this second.
Okay.
And that is Azumarill
Yes.
with huge power.
Love Azumarill, man.
Ampharos, Annihilate,
Oh, nice. You got
which
your
I've used
Annihilate.
Primate before, but I'd never used Annihilate before.
Yeah, Annihilate's super good.
Skeledirge, obviously, Gardevoir,
Nice.
who I really haven't used that often, honestly.
It's funny to me. I use Gardevoir all the time, so
Yeah.
that seems like a very normal one for me.
And then Clodsire.
Oh yeah.
The
See, I
Clod.
used him in my main team for Violet, so yeah. So I'm all about it.
Who is definitely the weakest member of the team.
Oh, definitely. He's not super good.
His stats
stat
aren't
total
great.
just isn't great, but
His
he's
stats-
very usable.
He's the slowest by far. So I actually gave him a nature that reduces speed because it was
already
already
slow
so
anyway.
low that
Yeah.
there was just no way he was ever going to go first.
Yeah, for sure.
In
Great
fact,
for Trick Room.
my team is slower than like has a lot more slow pokes on it than
Than
not
you
the
normally
Pokemon
do?
obviously than usual.
It's all slow, bro.
Yeah, like Ampharos is pretty slow.
Super slow.
I think Azumarill was slow too.
Azumarill's
Slower.
sort of slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Skeledirge isn't too slow, thankfully.
No, and Annihilate I think is my fastest.
He's fairly fast. Yeah. So not bad.
Which Primeape has always been fast.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, I blew through the game really quick. So
Oh, really?
I've already beaten the ELE 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was because I started this.
You just went for it.
Yeah, I started this file Tuesday morning or Monday morning, and I have not played every day. But yeah, it is now Saturday, and I'm done. So
Did you do? So you did the gyms, obviously, but you also did the other stuff.
yep, gyms,
Team Star.
Team Star, and the Beasts.
Wow. Yeah, that's very fast.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd be barely halfway through probably by now.
Skipping the dialogue helps a lot.
That's true. And not filling out your Pokedex probably.
Oh yeah, not at all. I've caught less than 30 Pokemon.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And the only reason I even have that many is because I caught a few of my favorites just cuz.
Yeah.
Like I caught a
Nice.
Dratini. Because I love Dratini.
Nice. Yeah, well, I'm playing the DLC. So there you go.
So my approach this time was because I remember in my first attempt, I did things kind of out of order. And I really wanted to do things in order as best
Oh,
I
yeah.
could. And I still didn't quite because, for one thing, I have not found a master list of all trainers in Paldea,
Oh, really?
which is weird. I figured this would exist somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, Cerebi does have Poke Earth
Yeah.
for Paldea,
Yeah.
and it has all the trainer locations.
But not their
But
order,
it doesn't
basically.
like go into. It doesn't show their name and their list of Pokemon and their levels and all that.
Yeah.
And so I'd often
There's a lot, so.
find I'd do a fight that was a few levels where their levels were several above mine.
Yeah.
And then the very next fight they'd be 10 levels below. And
Yeah. Yeah, the trainers is tough. I feel like they should really scale with you somehow or something because
Yeah, they're just
yeah.
distributed in an odd way. 'Cause sometimes they can be standing almost next to each other, and yet there's a huge level difference between them.
Yeah.
Now, there's a pattern. The closer they are to Mesagoza or the very starting area,
Yeah.
like Pocopath, the lower in level they are for
Of
sure.
course.
And
That
the
makes
further
sense.
away tends to be the higher the level they are.
Makes sense, yeah.
So like on Glacido Mountain, that tends to be some of the highest
A little
levels.
higher, yeah.
And then also the beach where the fairy type Team Star leader is. That's pretty high level.
That makes sense.
Casseroya Lake, where the false dragon titan is, that's fairly high level.
Because those are all near, like, sort of the final stages
Yeah.
of, like,
So basically, the
gyms
north
and
half
stuff.
of the map is all pretty high level, and then also the southeast corner, the southwest corner with Alfornata gym,
Yeah.
the psychic type
The
gym.
psychic gym, yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense.
And
But, yeah,
I
it'd be
will
nice if it was
say,
a little clearer.
yeah, for me, the water type gym is the hardest.
Oh, really? Okay.
I definitely think that's the hardest gym. Yeah. And then as far as how hard anything else is, it kind of depends on when you reached it.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah.
Because they're all pretty set. So, so unless you go immediately there, the bug gym is always going to be easy.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is I went to the bug gym very early and it was still very easy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you go immediately and you have a single grass type, and that's it, then it might be difficult. Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, by the time you even reach Mesagoza and you're ready to start your journey,
You're level 10 plus
Yeah.
without trying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I feel like they could have made the first couple gyms a little tougher just from the get-go, but
Yeah.
it's tough when you're trying to do open world,
Yeah.
but set levels at the same time. Yeah.
And so there's quite a lot of trainers in that southern region that near the start that are, and none of them are very high level. So like, but I went back to beat a bunch of them and they were all super low level. So they
Yeah.
I didn't really get a lot of experience out of it.
Yeah. So, otherwise, the DLC, on the other hand, does scale with your main progress in the game.
Yeah.
So, because I'd beaten everything, when you first get to the DLC, all the wild Pokemon trainers are all over level 60.
Yeah.
And then it stays that way throughout the whole DLC. So, that was kind of cool. Not having to start from scratch. And it makes it so evolving Pokemon from the wild is really easy. Because
Yeah.
they're all over level 60. So, they pretty much all need only one level to evolve. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, shall I tell you about the DLC a little bit?
Sure.
So, obviously, like I said, it's higher level, which is cool. I decided I definitely wanted to catch a whole new team of only DLC Pokemon, basically. The Kichikami region. And so, but you catch them at first stage. So even though they were level 60, I felt very weak at first. And you immediately have a battle with sort of your new rival. Her name's Carmen, and she's a psycho lady a little bit. she's very much like a very violent tsundere kind of character. Kind of like the poison girl from the Sword and Shield DLC.
Yeah.
Who was kind of like very mean to you. Yeah, she's kind of like that. And so I lost against her
Oh, wow.
because she just, destroyed me. So, but once I got everything on my team a couple levels higher, just a couple, they all evolved and got much stronger. So right now I have a Ribombee,
Okay.
who I like a lot. It was one of my favorite Sun and Moon Pokemon. So I'm like, Ribombee, heck yeah. Probably the best bug type I've ever used. So
Okay.
yeah, Bug Fairy, if you don't know. And then I have a Mighty Yenna,
Okay.
who's a DLC Pokemon. And he's good now because of good moves, good physical moves, stuff like that. So he's been pretty good to have. I got Poliwhirl, who's one of my favorite Pokemon ever. And so I was very much set on getting him. So I got that. And then I have other Pokemon. Well, I got Sinistra, the new like Sinistea form that looks like matcha, like green tea.
Oh, okay.
So it's ghost grass. like a lot of new ghost types, I feel like are ghost grass, but he's cool. And I just evolved him to let's see, it's Sinistra and Poltergeist, I believe, are the two things. But it's swapped. So Poltergeist is the evolution of Sinisty, but in this, Poltergeist evolves into Sinistra.
Okay.
The other way around. It's very confusing with the names. But anyway, it's very good. It's stupidly strong. It has a its own move called Matcha Gotcha that hits all Pokemon in the field, and it's also like Giga Drain. You get health back up to 50%, and it has a chance to burn also. Anyway, it's absolutely ridiculous, basically. So that's cool. So I got her. I got a Vulpix because Vulpix and Ninetales are now in this. And then the sixth Pokemon that I can never remember. So there you go.
There's only room in your brain for 5 unique Pokemon.
Apparently, it's the worst. Wait, okay. Vulpix, Poliwhirl, Ribombee, Leavanny.
Okay.
I gotta Leavanny. You know it's from Gen 5. It's a bug grass. It looks like a little leaf bug. Little leaf bug guy. He's very good, actually. Super high. He's very much a glass cannon, but super high physical attack. And so the leaf blades hit pretty hard.
Nice.
That's the team. Well, it was the team. But then I got the itch to shiny hunt. And so I found a Vulpix outbreak. And Vulpix to shiny is okay, but Ninetales to shiny is amazing. It's like gray blue with like blue on the ends of its tails.
Oh, yeah.
Looks fantastic. So this was actually on the plane ride back from Vegas. I was shiny hunting Vulpix, and through a mass outbreak, I got the first one within 10 minutes probably.
Wow.
The first Vulpix. And I was like, heck yeah. And then about 4 or 5 minutes later, I got the second one. So I got a shiny Vulpix, and I could evolve one into a shiny Ninetales. So I'm using the Ninetales on my team now. So I've got that shiny boy on there. Other than those two, I got 2 other shinies so far in the DLC. One was totally random. I found a Charjabug.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which I showed you. It's like a really nice red. He's a great shiny. And then I hunted for Noctowl from an outbreak, and there's a lot of new, a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon that they sort of added back in. Noctowl and Ferret being 2 of the main ones. And I definitely want to shiny hunt to Ferret at some point.
Yeah.
Because they're like pink and super cute. So I might be doing that sometime. So yeah. Some interesting choices for the DLC Pokemon added.
No.
Like the Jangmo-O line and Como-O and all that. Everyone's favorite dragon type. But also great shiny. So might be going for that. Who knows?
No.
And so yeah, I'm probably halfway through the DLC right now. I'm definitely taking the story slow. The story's a lot sadder than I expected it to be.
Oh.
And it kind of messed up in a few places, so I won't spoil it for you. But yeah, some interesting things going on.
Oh.
I've now met the legendary in question also. So yeah, very interesting, very mysterious. I do really like the sort of rural Japan festival vibe going on, which is kind of cool. So I just got my like summer kimono outfit. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's that. That's
right.
DLC.
So you had me watch a YouTube
Heck
video
yeah.
where a guy did a playthrough where they added
Alpha Rad. Was
Alpha
the
Rad.
channel, yeah.
They added 50 new types.
Incredible. It is a heavily heavily modified version of Pokemon. Was it X and Y?
It was Emerald.
Right. Or it was Emerald?
Yeah.
Right, but it had up to like Gen 6 or 7 Pokemon
Yeah,
in
it had some new Pokemon
right,
like
yeah.
Phalanx.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it had up to like Sword and Shield Pokemon
Yeah.
in there. So
And its types were, and some Pokemon were capable of having 3 types.
3 types. Yeah.
And Phalanx's was silly little guys.
Silly little guys.
And those were
Silly
types.
being a type, little being a type, and guys being a type.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. So like at first, right? It's like some obvious ones, like Braixen having the magic type,
Yeah.
Gardevoir having space type, a few things like that. And these are real types that they coded in. So like they have weaknesses, they have resistances, and so on. They showed a screenshot of the type chart, and it's just massive, absolutely hilarious.
Ridiculous.
There's other ones like baby type for Pokemon like Cleffa and Igglybuff, stuff like that. There's Pikachu.
Yeah,
is
Pikachu
a
type.
and only Pikachu, of course, has that type. So there's like Pikachu has specific like unique moves that are Pikachu type.
There was the crab type.
Crab type.
And apparently
one of my favorites.
Any Pokemon with multiple arms gets crab type.
Crab type. So you had Machamp and all that. And then the obvious ones like Krabby and Kingler. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. One of the most absurd was shown when Bouffalant made an appearance. And what type was that, Brian? Do you remember?
Ohio type.
Ohio type. And the little image was Texas, which was hilarious. So Ohio type was a good one.
Yep. And gun type.
Gun.
There was a gym leader who specialized in Ohio and gun type.
Yep. Yeah, it was Clay from Gen 5 was in there for some reason.
Yeah.
And he had Ohio and gun type Pokemon, which was very fitting. A lot of Among Us meme jokes because Sus was its own type.
Yep. Uno reverse card was a type.
Oh man, so that was one of the more clever ones. Was Uno reverse, which literally reversed. It was like reverse battling in Gen 6, which was a thing where like it just swapped what was resistant and super effective. So now fire is super effective to water, and so on. And so it was really brilliant because he was fighting a Wynot. And Wynot was baby type. And baby type is weak to every type because it's a baby. So it's very, weak.
Yeah.
But it was also Uno reverse type, which made it resistant to every single type.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's just brilliant. Like, come on. Yeah. So there was a lot of weird combinations and obviously the furry type was one, unsurprisingly. And, Pokemon like Lopunny and Lucario and any anthropomorphic Pokemon, basically. Unsurprising. And, some of the more interesting stuff, though, was the unique moves they added.
Yeah.
And, like, the animations that went with it and stuff. Like, they went really far with the Among Us jokes. Like, obviously, the Pokemon Amoonguss was very much a sus type Pokemon. And it had, like, moves like Vent, where it would go in the vent from Among Us. Like, I mean, it was the whole thing. Yeah, so it's an absurdly fun watch if you know Pokemon pretty well because of how it turns it on its head. And it is a playable ROM also that you can get. And so I'm very curious to try it, actually. I think it'd be really fun. Especially with the type chart would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Because trying to keep all that square would be very difficult. Yeah. So yeah. There were such cute ones too, like Fluffy Friend, because Friend was a type, and Fluff and Sharp, and it was a lot.
Yep.
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 I also watched Alpharad's video about Pokemon Infinite Fusion. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I think you can fuse Pokemon together and they...
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the art is very well done, super cool. There's like thousands of artists, I think, worked on this game. And so some of them are just super cool looking, some are grotesquely horrible, some are, stupid memes and stuff. But yeah, it was very cool. I think it was like, things like Gardevoir and Snorlax becoming Big Chungus and stuff like that. Like there was some definitely some meme ones.
Yeah.
But that's another one that looks really fun to actually play through, not just watch a video on.
In the comments, someone suggested combining the two, the fusion game and the 50 types
Man,
one.
that's too much. That's just too much, man.
No.
Yeah. Good times though.
It's funny. Fusion is such a common idea in Japanese anime and stuff.
It is, yeah.
That it wouldn't surprise me if Pokemon fusions became a canon thing.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, especially they sort of did it with Ash Greninja. Having Greninja having sort of this new form with its trainer kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like that's a precursor that could turn into fusion of some sort.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I have thought about how they're cranking out so many new Pokemon with each generation. They could really easily start to run out of ideas, and so
instead of make more, just change the
There's a few different things they could try that wouldn't necessarily involve adding new Pokemon, but
one of the biggest examples of that was regional forms.
Yeah.
Which started in Sun and Moon. I think the Alola forms and stuff were absolutely fantastic additions. And obviously, because that's now a staple of the series.
Yeah.
So I think that's very cool. And a good way to sort of have new Pokemon, but not new Pokemon. So, yeah. It does surprise me how they've done diverging evolutions. I think that's been interesting. Like the fact you can have a like Meowth and Berserker, It's like totally different Pokemon, but totally the same Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like Toadscool and Tentacool, how they're the same Pokemon, but completely not the same Pokemon also.
Yeah.
They're not, and it's not because it's not Paldean Tentacool, it's Toadscool, completely different Pokemon. I don't know. That's an interesting choice they've made, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I mean, why not, I suppose. Well, I have still been on the National Pokedex journey.
How's that been going?
So, it's done. So, in Generation 6, I'm completely done with my living National Dex. 721 Pokemon, one of each. Like one of every single Pokemon is there, including Mythicals, which aren't actually necessary to get the National Dex completed. But I went and did it anyway. Obviously, some of them are not real.
Right.
They were gotten through like wonder trades and stuff that were clearly not, legitimate. But I'll take the next entry anyway.
Yeah.
The Victini I have is clearly not actually from an event 10 years ago.
Right.
But you know what? I'll take it. So the plan was to have it in X and Y, have it totally done, transfer it to the bank, and then up to Sun and Moon.
Right.
And do that whole thing. Well, first, I sent them from the bank to Alpha Sapphire and got all the Pokemon there. So now I have the National Dex in that too, without doing any work, just from transferring, which was awesome. And so I got the Shiny Charm in Alpha Sapphire also. And then put it back to X and Y. And then I was going to put it into Sun and Moon. Well, Ultra Sun and Moon actually. And but before I did it, I was looking at some of the Pokemon I already had in my Ultra Moon playthrough, and I noticed that even though I was in the post game in that game, I didn't have the National Pokedex. And so I'm like, because usually after the main story or after the Elite Four, you get it immediately. The
Right.
professor of the game or whatever gives it to you. And so I looked it up where to get the National Pokedex because I clearly hadn't got it yet. And it's not in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. There is no National Pokedex. You can get the Pokemon. The data is in the game. Like, you can have every single Pokemon up to Ultra Sun and Moon, but they don't have a Dex number. They just exist. And so I was like, well, then wait, how do you get the Shiny Charm in this game? And you just have to have the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the Alola Pokedex completed to get the Shiny Charm.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's way easier.
Yeah.
And it meant I don't have to transfer everything, because if I transfer from Gen 6 to 7, that's a one-way trip.
Right.
Even though it's through the same Pokemon bank, once they have the Sun and Moon data on them, basically, they can't be transferred backwards. And so it's kind of cool that I don't have to do that. I can just keep them sort of in my Gen 6 universe and just fill out the Pokedex for Gen 7, because I have Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon, and two 3DSs. So between those, I can get every single Pokemon in the Alola Pokedex, and I don't have to worry about transferring stuff up. So now I'm looking into that. So I may have the National Dex done for Gen 6, but now I have to do the Alola Pokedex. And so I got went on Pokemon Tracker, got my regional Dex checklist. I have already, I have maybe 12%
Yeah.
only done. Because I'm going to do Living Dex also again.
Right.
So I will definitely have some repeat Pokemon, because obviously it's not just, I think the regional Dex in Ultra Moon is like 400 Pokemon still.
Yeah.
It's a good amount of Pokemon, because there's obviously some previous gen Pokemon in there. And so I'll see with some legendaries especially, I wonder if it might be easier to get them in like Alpha Sapphire or something and then transfer them up.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I don't want to disturb my National Living Dex is all. So
No.
yeah. So I'm going to work on that now. So it'll all be Ultra Moon moving up. So besides that little project now, I can also shiny hunt very easily in Gen 6 games now that I have the charm in both of those. So obviously shiny charm halves the rareness of shinies.
Right.
So instead of 1 in 4,000, it's 1 in 2,000, basically. And then I can lower that further by either Matsuda method breeding, or in ORAS, I can do the Poke Nav, the Dex Nav little thing, searching for Pokemon and chaining that way. There's also fishing chaining in X and Y that I can mess with. So the first one I decided to do was Vanillite, who is just adorable in my opinion. And its shiny is like kind of a pinkish purple instead of the blue. Super cute. And they're really common in one of the caves in X and Y. I think Glittering Cave maybe, or it's the whatever the frozen cave is. And you can find them in hordes. So instead of doing 1 by 1 for shiny hunting, I can do 5 at a time.
Nice.
In a horde encounter, which raises the odds very much, very much so. So 1 in 2, it's 1 in 2,000 ish, but I'm seeing 5 at a time, and they're fairly common. So and with my Venusaur that has Sweet Scent, I can do a horde encounter one after another, and it's all horde encounters. And so that took an hour, maybe, to get shiny Vanillite. So that was super cool. Went very well. There are other horde Pokemon. There's Cubchoo and Smoochum too. So I was a little afraid of getting those as shiny. I mean, I'll take it, but was definitely going for Vanillite. And thankfully, that's the one I got. That was pretty much pure luck. But so that was cool. And then right now in Alpha Sapphire, I decided this was probably a bad idea because I haven't gotten a single one yet. But I'm trying to get like a team of shinies and all like blue shinies that I really like. And so there's 3 I'm going for right now, which is Cottony, who evolves into Whimsicott,
Right.
who's very good, especially with its prankster ability. So Whimsicott has a nice blue shiny. I'm looking for Zorua, who has a very nice blue shiny as well. And then I'm hunting Vulpix in Alpha Sapphire also. Not nearly as quick as as Scarlet and Violet, let me tell you, because I'll have the Ninetales blue shiny as well. And so I've been trying to chain those with the Dex Nav, and that's a bit annoying to faff around with because it's one of those like search the grass nearby for ones, and you have to like sneak up on it, and then you have to defeat it to keep the chain going. And if you run too fast and scare it away, if you catch it instead of kill it, if you run away instead of kill it, that'll break your chain, which is the whole thing. And so, and then sometimes your chain will just break.
Yeah.
Even though you did everything perfectly. It's sort of like the Poke Radar in Gen 4.
Yeah.
Very similar. And so the longer your chain, the better your shiny odds. The odds do get better. But you just got to do your best. So yesterday I was hunting Cottony for a while and got a couple hundred into a chain and got nothing. Just nothing. So it's going to happen at some point. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've had a few shinies in X and Y, but I've yet to find one in Alpha Sapphire. And I'm like, bro, this chain's got to start doing, this shiny charm's got to start doing work here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But hey, that's life as a shiny hunter. It's painful. So that's what I've been up to.
Cool.
Shinies and national dexes and such.
Yeah.
It's fun to get into. It's like a whole world, you know, like so much to keep track of. And I'm like, got 2 different 3DSs going, and yeah, it's very fun though. So,
Yep. I've always got browsers with Bulbapedia and Cerebi and stuff whenever I'm playing Pokemon. So
yeah, it's very helpful.
Some of my spreadsheets, because I have several Pokemon spreadsheets.
Yeah, I'm loving the Pokemon Tracker website. It does a really good job of working, and like it hasn't lost my data ever or anything. And you can really easily click on a Pokemon from your checklist, and it'll show in whatever game you've set the checklist as. It'll show where to catch that Pokemon if it's catchable, and then it'll show when it evolves or how it evolves, and then it'll have 2 separate links, one for Cerebi, one for Bulbapedia for that specific Pokemon if you need it. So it's like the super helpful little bar on the side.
Yeah.
So if I need to quickly look up something, yeah. So I love that, and then you can obviously check them if you've caught them or not, and stuff like that. So, and they're separated into boxes basically, into 1 through 30, and so. For setting up my boxes, I can put them all in the exact right spot because I can just see it. It's already on the website as if they're in boxes.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very well thought out and was clearly done by people who know Pokemon, you know, and know what it's like to have to hunt stuff down. So, yeah, I've found. I mean, I like shiny hunting a lot, but completing Pokédexes is probably my favorite thing to do in Pokemon now. I think that's definitely what I'm having the most fun doing.
Yeah.
So
I've really only completed the Gen 1 and 2 dexes, and then Alola, Legends
Yeah, he did
Arceus, and Paldea.
Yeah, Scarlet Violet. Yeah, I mean, it's just not your thing as much. I feel like
Not
I mean,
as much,
That's
no.
understandable. Yeah.
I don't
Pokemon's
usually
pretty
like to
big,
go through
so
all the suffering.
yeah. And to me, it's kind of fun. It's not as suffragey, so yeah.
So, in addition to that, I've been watching Jessica Jones because I never did
Oh yeah,
watch that.
That's right.
So
And the new Ahsoka
finally getting
series
around
too,
to
yeah.
that, and then Ahsoka, which has got Hayden
Heck-
Christensen is back,
heck yeah.
and that's awesome.
He looks awesome too. He looks really great.
I love that he seems to finally be getting the recognition I think he's
Yeah.
always deserved.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of love now, which is awesome. People are like, turns out he's awesome. Who knew he was good? He was good the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I don't watch any new shows, but
Yeah.
still, that's
And
cool.
Ahsoka is still by Dave Filoni, who did
Yeah.
Clone Wars and Rebels, so it's been able to stay under the same person throughout, which is nice.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot.
It sucks when like you have a revolving door of directors or producers for these kinds of
Yeah.
shows
That
where
really
there's
hurts a
supposed to be a
franchise.
continuous story going on.
Yeah. I think that often hurts a franchise or series.
Yeah.
And I think is why like the new Star Wars sequel movies and stuff felt disjointed and not as good and yeah, stuff like that.
It's like it almost didn't matter who did the sequel trilogy as long as the same person did all three movies. It would have
Would
been
have
better.
helped a lot, yeah. Yep, I think that's definitely true.
But, yeah. And then I've been playing a lot with my Line 6 Helix.
Yeah, you got a new special pedal thing.
Yeah. I don't remember.
A little guitar thing.
I don't remember if I already had it when we last recorded. But
I think maybe you just got it or something.
Yeah, but I've been playing with it a lot. I've played more guitar in the last couple of weeks than I have in probably the last year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which I've always wanted to be better at the electric guitar because it's my favorite instrument.
Yeah.
So
Because it
I
sounds
think if
sick.
I play a lot more, I might get a little better.
Yeah. That's
And
usually
I'm
how you
having
get
a lot
better.
of fun dialing in sounds for
Yeah.
it. So yeah,
Well, and yeah, getting into it like that is the best way to keep it up. Because, yeah, put it down for too long, you just never pick it back up again. So,
and yeah, now I can I can listen to a song and I can try to match the sounds too. Try to match the tones instead of just
That's cool.
only having whatever sound I've got with whatever gear I've got. I've now got a lot of options.
and then you could play it right, and it still sounds completely wrong. Just
True,
because, like, different
but-
wrong effects, and,
Yeah.
like, you gotta, yeah, that's a big part of it, I think. That's cool. That's cool.
Yep. Well.
I got pizza today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I finally had good teriyaki chicken again for the first time in several days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird to eat at restaurants so often and then not all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because we were eating restaurant food in Vegas, like for every meal, basically.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, we didn't do any grocery shopping
we
because
didn't
that
shop
was
or anything.
the whole point we were there was to eat at restaurants.
Yeah.
And so that's all we ate at. We did wind up eventually like eating at McDonald's.
We had one McDonald's breakfast.
because
yep.
for one thing, we didn't really have the budget to eat a fancy meal
a
every
big
meal.
breakfast. Yeah.
But
Well, and I especially wanted to go to McDonald's, and we did it again the next morning, but just for coffee.
yeah.
Because as far as like fast food or fast coffee goes, theirs is fine. Even as like a coffee snob myself, it's perfectly fine. Not a lot of very negative flavors in it, and
Yeah.
and it was by far the only cheap coffee there.
Yeah.
Cause dude, coffee on the strip is so expensive.
the prices of things can vary really,
Really
wildly
widely.
too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really weird.
I bought a couple of energy drinks.
Yep, and like one of those little tiny, almost convenience stores that's like part of the hotel.
Yeah, so like
Yeah,
there was a
it's like
a
part of a
casino that just
casino.
had this little corner where they had some stuff like,
Yeah,
and it
Little
was
snacks and stuff.
$7.50 per can.
per rock
The
star.
most money I've ever spent on energy drinks
Yeah.
anywhere.
Like they're cheaper at like concert venues.
Yeah.
They're less than that. Like that's
It
ridiculous.
reminded me of buying stuff at Disneyland
Yeah, it was absolutely absurd.
where you'll pay $5 for a bottle of Coca-Cola or whatever.
Yeah. And so coffee was the same.
Yeah.
At any place that was halfway decent, it was at least $6 for a small black coffee.
Yeah.
Not like a latte, nothing like that. Small black coffee was that much money. And even the Starbuckses that were part of the hotels or casinos were astronomically jacked up prices, even though Starbucks is already expensive. But these were like extra expensive Starbucks, so they were also $5+ for those. So I was very happy to find a McDonald's next to our hotel that had $1.75 coffee instead, which was so nice. And so yeah, we did that like the last 2 mornings there.
Yeah.
because
Like
Not worth it.
McDonald's breakfast is pretty decent. Like I
perfectly
ate
fine,
there even when I was in Japan, just because it was convenient. Although part of that was just how early I was up every day.
Yep. That was nice in Vegas. A lot of stuff was 24 hours or open late and stuff like that. So that was definitely nice.
It was a little surprising how few things were open.
How much
late.
stuff did close at like 10 o'clock? Yeah, that was kind of surprising. But yeah, there wasn't much that was closed that we didn't get to go to because we were there too late or whatever.
Yeah.
So
But I guess there's not many people doing clothing shopping after like 11 p.m. or
Right.
whatever. So
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So now, trying to get back into the swing of regular life, non-vacation life. Luckily, we were all off yesterday, Friday.
Yeah.
And this weekend, we're all pretty chill, so we can refocus, get back to normal life, I suppose.
record a podcast,
Record a podcast.
stuff like that.
We really considered checking a bag and taking all this with us.
Yeah,
to
and recording
Vegas.
there, but it was just going to be too big a hassle.
yeah.
And it turned out we didn't really have a lot of time anyway.
And we would have been sleepy probably through it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we are right now.
Dude, we were averaging about 23,000 steps per day. We
Yep.
were walking a lot.
Walking a lot.
Last day, we walked 30,000 steps.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy stuff. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Fun trips. Fun stuff.
All right. Well, where can our listeners get a hold of us?
You want to just cut it off now?
Yeah.
We're running on empty, as you can tell.
Yeah.
We have to recover from our vacation still, which is kind of ridiculous to think about. But hey, that's life. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening. Please go follow us on our Twitter at the Brothers G Pod. That would be super helpful. And if you're listening on Spotify, Amazon, Google, and such, Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a review and download the podcast.
Yes, please.
So we know you're listening. We're almost at 1,000 downloads,
Yeah, we're getting up there.
which is pretty sweet. So thank you again for listening and downloading.
If you are listening to this on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
What's up, YouTube? Shoot us a comment. Tell us what you liked best in this conversation. Tell us how you're doing with if you're playing Pokemon. If you're playing that DLC, let us know what you're thinking. And
Yep.
that's it, I suppose.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. It's the middle of the day.